Hello, and welcome back to the Steve Ball Show. This week we're first going to talk about. Have you guys been watching the show La Brea? Well, that's on NBC's at 8 o'clock. No, 9 o'clock on um, Tuesday nights, and it's kind of cool to see how what they did this week. We saw last week we saw that they're um, Isaiah's from the future, and it's kind of cool to see how they this week they go into the building um, that's control everything kind of because Isaiah's dad and mom are from the future from 2070, I think 2 or 6, one of those two, and they come back to the past because they're trying to fix the future. The future, their environment is not that great. It's been damaged and stuff. So they're trying to fix their mistakes. So it's kind of cool to see how Isaiah meets his father, and he helps them to get to 1988 to reunite with his kids, and they're trying to prevent a tidal wave because that's going to lead to a sinkhole. So it's kind of cool to see how this stuff is playing out, and how they got to where they are in 10,000 BC. One of the people gets sick from them shocking him, and hopefully he gets better. So I can't wait to see what they do with this. If you haven't watched, like I said, you can watch it on NBC. It's a pretty good show. It kind of reminds me of have you ever seen if you've ever seen the 100? It's kind of like that because they were from a like Earth or planet, Earth that was messed up, and that's why they went into space. This show's not in space, but then they found another planet to be on in 100. So if you haven't seen that show, that's on Netflix. If you want to watch that, all the seasons. So it kind of reminds me of that type of show. So it's a good show. I suggest it. You watch it. Next show is on Disney Plus. It's called The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and it's kind of cool to see how they this week they started the tournament play, and you see the Mighty Ducks ain't that great because the coach, the mom, selected all the bad players, and it's kind of cool to see how Evan, I think his name's Evan. And he's on the best team. See how they were going light on them, and they didn't like the dominate team was going light on the Mighty Ducks, and they didn't like that. So let's see if the Mighty Ducks can actually win and come back and win the whole thing, get into the tournament, win the whole thing. And the person who's in control of the camp, his son's on the Mighty Ducks, and he finally had enough of what his dad's doing and how he acts towards the lesser teams. So, and he's finally want to be a Mighty Duck. So, let's see how that works, and hopefully he gets a shot back and his skills back, and they can win. And he becomes their secret weapon. So if you want to watch that show airs on Disney Plus every Wednesday. So, yeah, it's a good show. Next thing I'm going to talk about is, if you haven't got this game, I don't know if I talked about this before. I think I didn't. It's called Gotham Knights. It's based off of the Arkham Knight games. Well, Batman's not in this game. In the beginning of the game, he's in the beginning of the game. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's kind of cool. You get to play with Robin, Red Hood, Batgirl, and Nightwing. And it's like an open world. You have to solve different crimes. It's really worth it. So the graphics are really good. I don't know. Some people don't like the graphics, but I think they're pretty good. You can get it on PS5, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X. So I suggest you try it. I just started playing it. It's really good. If you don't like really challenging game, it is challenging, but there is a very easy level that you can play on if you want to. You don't have to, but that's what I'm playing on. So if you get stuck, they give you clues. So it's a pretty good game. I suggest you try it out. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Walker Independence. I like how it's in the in the West, kind of, and it's kind of cool to see how she's trying to find out what happened because the sheriff killed her husband, and she's trying to bring justice for what happened to her husband. So, excuse me. It's kind of and like last week we found out some more about some characters. So if you want to watch that show, it's on Thursday nights on the CW at 9 o'clock after Walker. So it's a really good show. Check it out. Okay. The next show I'm going to talk about is Stargirl. It's a really good show that's on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, and it's kind of cool to see. Last week they dealt with the Green Lantern's daughter and and her brother, and just they're trying to solve a murder. I don't know. There's this guy who's watching them, and he killed somebody, and he killed two people, and they're trying to figure out what happened, and just cool to see that show. And Stargirl and Starman. It sucks that the CW canceled that show, which is dumb. They're canceled all their shows. So if you want to watch that show, it's a Wednesday nights at 8. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Steve's Vinyls. And last week I got this. It's Taylor Swift's new album called Midnights. It's pretty good. All her songs on it is pretty good. It's just like her old stuff, kind of. So I suggest you get it. You can get it at Target. Yeah, like all her songs are good in here, and I can't. The songs are called Lavender Haze, Maroon, Antihero, Snow on the Beach, You're on Your Own Kid, Midnight Rain, Question, Vigilante, Crap, Bejeweled, Labyrinth, Karma, Sweet Nothing, and Mastermind. And then there's another version that you can buy, is the 3 a.m. edition. That's digital though. All the songs are good. It reminds me of old stuff, like I said. It's not bad like Folklore was. So if you want to get it, you can get it at Target. And if you get all 4, it makes a clock. So I suggest you check that out. Okay, now it's time for Steve's and Joe's and Bill's picks. So we're going to do the NFL schedule for this week. I think it's week 9. So Joe says for the first game it's the Eagles versus the Texans, and Joe says the Eagles are going 28-7. Billy Rodabout says the Eagles win 34-17, and I agree. I think the Eagles are going to blow out the Texans. I think they're going to have a dominant game. The Texans are horrible this year. I think Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown just keep getting stronger, and so did Devontae Smith and all the weapons. Miles Sanders, the defense plays well. They just blow out the Texans. I think they win 42-7 in a rout of the Texans, and I think they win this game in a blowout on Thursday Night Football. The next game is the Packers and Lions. Now, if Aaron Rodgers loses this game to the Lions, who are horrible, then there's a problem. I think he bounces back and has a good game. I think they win in a blowout, 32-17 against the Lions. Even though they don't have that great of a team, neither do the Lions. So I think this is the game where he can win this game. And Joe says that the Packers win 32-21. And Bill says the Packers win 30-27 against the Lions. So, the next game is the Chargers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Billy Rodabout says that the Chargers win 34-27. Joe says the Chargers win 28-21, and I agree with both of them. I think the Chargers are better than the Falcons. The Falcons are good. The Falcons are not good. The Falcons are okay, don't get me wrong, but I just think the Chargers are way better. I think the Chargers win in a 2-score game. I think they win 34-21 against an okay team. So they play. The Chargers will win this game. The next game is the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets. Billy Rodabout says the Bills will win 38-26. Joe says the Chargers will win 20-21. I think it's not going to be that close. Even though the Jets have been playing well, I think the Bills are going to blow them out. The Bills are just playing really good this year. And I think Naheem Hines, who they just got, plays a factor. I think he has a big game, a big rushing game. So if you need somebody in fantasy, I think you go out and get him. I think just Josh Allen plays well. He connects with all his receivers. And the defense keeps playing well. I think they'll have at least 1 or 2 sacks on Zach Wilson. So I think that the Bills win in a blowout. So, yeah, I think the Bills win this game. The next game is the Minnesota Vikings versus the Commanders. Billy Rodabout says they win. Vikings win 27-20 against the Commanders. Joe says the Vikings win 20-12. I think the Vikings blow them out. I think they win 35-7 against the Commanders. Because the Commanders, even though they won 3 straight, the Vikings are they're just way better. So I think they just added tight end. They added T.J. Hawkinson. So I just think there's no way that the Commanders win this game, and so I think the Vikings win. The next game is the Carolina Panthers versus Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals will win this game. I don't think it's even close. The Panthers almost won this week against the Falcons, but they're not gonna beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati lost to the Browns. So I don't know what's going on with the Bengals this year. But I think Joe Burrow has a bounce back game. I think they win in 2-score game. I think they win 42-24 or 42-35. And Billy Rodabout says the Bengals win 38-31. And Joe says the Bengals win 21-7. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Joe says the Raiders win 28-21. Billy Rodabout says the Raiders win 24-20. I disagree. The Raiders have been playing horrible. Devontae Adams is not doing nothing, which I'm sad because I have my fantasy football team. I just think the Jaguars are way better than the Raiders at this point of the season. They both suck, sad to say, but I just think that the Jaguars have more weapons. I think Trevor Lawrence has a good game. I think he connects with his receivers. I think ETN has a good game. So I think they win in a close game. I think it's 28-20. Jaguars win this game against the Raiders. The next game is the Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears. Joe says the Dolphins win 40-14. Billy Rodabout says Miami wins 34-24. I agree with Joey. I think it's going to be a blowout game. I think it's 40-14. The Dolphins just have too many weapons for the Bears to stop. Even though the Bears just got Chase Claypool, I just think the Dolphins are way better. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Tua. They have good running backs. They have Gesicki. They have a good defense. So I just think it's a blowout. I think the Dolphins win this game easily. Next game is Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. Billy says that Seattle wins 28-24. Joe says the Cardinals win 32-28. I agree with Joe. I think even though Seattle's been playing well, I just think the Cardinals are way better than the Seahawks. So I agree with that score that Joey says. He says 32-28. I think it's a close game, but I just think the Chargers are better, and they win that game. So the next game is the LA Rams versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Joe says the Bucks will win 28-21. Billy Rodabout says Rams win 38-23. I agree with Billy. I think that LA is just they have their heads more on straight than the Bucks. There's just something off with Tom Brady right now, and what he's going on with his life. I just think the Bucks are not that good this year. Tom Brady's not as good. He's showing his age. So I think that the Rams win this game, and it's a close score, and the Rams win this game. The next game is the Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Billy says that the Chiefs win 38-28. Joey says the Chiefs win 34-14. I agree. I think that the Chiefs are a better team. Even though the Titans are okay, I just think the Chiefs have way too much. I think it's going to be a 2-score game where the Chiefs win 42-31 against against the Titans. Don't get me wrong, Titans are a good, okay team, but the Chiefs are just way better overall. So yeah, the next and final game is the Ravens versus the New Orleans Saints. Joe says the Ravens win 20-14. Billy says the Ravens win 24-17, and I agree. I think the Ravens win more than that. I think they win 35-10 against the Saints. The Saints are okay, but they're not that good. The Ravens are a better team, so I think they win this 35-10. And yes, so that's Week 9 in NFL. I hope all your teams win besides the Cal Cheats, Giants. I don't think the Giants are playing this week. Commanders, Cheatriots. So thanks for watching my show. I hope you subscribe on YouTube at the Steve Ball Show. So please watch my show. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave me a comment. And if you have anything else you want me to talk about on the show, just leave me a comment, and I will happily, if I know what it is that you want me to talk about, I would love to take your suggestions into consideration. And thank you for watching my show and subscribing. Have a good week.